Welcome, welcome, everyone. I hope you've had a great month. I hope June has been wonderful for you and you are almost ready for July. July is always my favorite month because it's my birthday month and my wife's birthday month. So I hope that you and all of us have a great July. So let's get ready to prepare for it. So let's start with some nice settling in breaths, and you can just get comfortable in your seat. You can close your eyes or you can lower your gaze. Just do whatever you can to get comfortable and get settled in. And when you're ready, just take some nice, easy, slow breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just notice yourself settling down a little bit. And with each exhale, just allow yourself to get more and more relaxed in the space. Okay, when you're ready, you can open your eyes, come back into the space. I will show you the card decks that we are going to use today. All right, so this is our Oracle deck and our Tarot deck. This week, we're going to use the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. So let's move these out of the way. Let's see what this deck has to get us started. So, Oracle cards, if you don't work with Oracle cards or maybe haven't really seen Oracle cards before, I refer to them as cheerleader cards. So, they are larger messages, inspiration sometimes, guidance, to just help kind of frame where we're at and give us some initial focus. So, let's see. Get that right in the middle. Well, isn't that cute? So again, this is the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, and we pulled 33 Joyful Muse. And I will just read what the book has to say. So you do need to read the books in Oracle cards. I don't encourage that for tarot. So, Joyful Muse, inspiration, the gift of play, inner child. The joyful muse invites you to be more playful, to have more mirth and joy in your life. You've become boring to yourself, even as others continue to find you interesting. Circumstances have dulled your edge, and it's time to change. Not the things around you, but your attitude. Blow a morning kiss to yourself in the mirror, smile to a stranger, wink to a child. Be mildly but elegantly inappropriate. The joyful muse is a source of inspiration, a wild and disruptive feminine force that compels you to invite more pleasure and delight into your life. Give yourself permission to be mischievous and find the humor in the tragedy while careful not to become frivolous. The power of this muse will shake up everyone around you and invite you to create beauty and grace out of the pain and tragedy you perceive in areas of your life. The joyful muse often comes at a time when darkness prevails and the future seems dour. Embrace her gifts, being playful without being silly. Invite the child inside you to come out for a play date, and he or she will help you to return to your innate innocence, the place of never been there, never done that, even if it is the same routine you wake up to every morning. I love that. I love that for us. Let's switch back for a second. Yeah, I think that is such a perfect card for July. We're in summer season now, and, you know, life has been lifing lately. So, any inspiration that we can get, I say we go forward full force. And this is just the cutest little message. And I want you to think about that as we look at the rest of the cards. We'll go through each week and pull a card. But I want you to think about that joyful muse as you write down, what you're working on, what you hope to focus on this month, And just remind yourself to be encouraged to find joy in simple places within your life, even when things get really ridiculous and hard. So, yeah, I really enjoy that. I don't think I've ever pulled that oracle card before. So I love that for us. I know I certainly need that message to be more joyful. So, all right, we're gonna uh, we're gonna start with another kind of overview for the month to help us draw inspiration from. I'll switch the camera back around so you can see the cards and not worry about what I'm talking about. All right, so we've got this is kind of our framing. Put this one right in the middle as we think about an overall messaging for the month. So, as usual, I want you first to see what you notice in the card, see what jumps out at you, see how this card feels for you in terms of planning for July. And as you do, and jot down any ideas or initial thoughts that come to you, because that's your intuition giving you information. So this is the Seven of Swords. Now, swords are the ways in which we communicate. So there are thoughts, they're the way that we receive information in, the way that we speak to people, and what we're hearing from people. It's not necessarily the tricky thing. I always think of this Seven of Swords as a bit of a trickster. The challenge often with swords cards, and as we think about communication, we assume oftentimes that the things that we're hearing from others, well, it must be true, right? Why would people talk about things and they not be true? But for me, the important message in this card as we think about overall July is, listen to what people have to say, realize the things that you are saying to other people, but recognize that everything may not be what it appears on the surface. Okay, so seven energy is about reflection. It is about assessing information. So it's going to be really important this month, especially if you are deciding to take the advice of that Joyful Muse card and, be a little frivolous, be a little spontaneous. Just keep in mind that you need to step back and reflect on what you're hearing, what you're saying, the ways that you are communicating. Just make sure that you step back a little bit and ask yourself or get more information about, is this all really true, or is this just things that people are talking about? Okay. I will also say, I didn't write the dates down, but I'll also say that Mercury will be going into retrograde this month. So I think that's also a stronger little message to think about here. Let me just Okay, I just looked, and actually, Mercury retrograde starts right when we're starting these weeks out. So, Mercury retrograde starts June 29th and runs through July 23rd. So, most of all of July, we're going to be feeling it because there's a shadow afterward. So, extra important as especially as we're looking at this message, this card is the warning to really double check, triple check how you're speaking, the ways that you're communicating, what information you're giving out to people, and double checking the validity of what you're hearing from other people throughout this month. Okay. Perfect. That makes so much sense. I'll also say that on the 29th, as Mercury is going retrograde, it is also the full moon in Capricorn. So there'll be a lot of relationship energy, romance energy, as Cancer and Capricorn are aligned with each other. This is an opportunity for things to really get started. So let's look at that as we take a look at our first card for that week of June 29th. And again, take a look at it, see what jumps out at you first, write that down. Write down how this card feels for you. Okay, so this card is the Eight of Pentacles. And so this Pentacles energy specifically is about, can be about home, about money, about your Pentacles energy is all about tangible energy, things that you can physically touch or that you can receive using money, right? Things that you can put your fingers on. And eight's energy is about mastery, right? Taking actions and movement, the most movement forward of the Pentacle cards. And so, as you think about this first week and what you can and should be doing, again, we have this full moon that's going to be happening on this first day of this particular week, still June, but leading into July. So on the 29th, as this week begins, and oh, now Mercury is retrograde as well, really take a step back and think about the things that you've been working really hard on and not just spending your time on, but you've really been committing to. Think about the areas of your life that, you have been practicing and maybe studying and just doing over and over again because you really want to be the very best you can be at it. Whatever that is, whether it's in your home life, in your career, allow yourself time and space to really acknowledge how far you've come, right? Acknowledge that I really have dedicated myself in these particular areas, and I need to give myself a little bit more credit. I need to shine a light on this full moon energy. I need to shine a light on these things that I've been doing, and maybe there's some opportunity to get some acknowledgement or move something forward in a way that, towards what you've been working on, right? Maybe you have been thinking about starting a side hustle or, changing careers or looking for a promotion, right? Allow yourself to say, hey, you know what? I deserve this. I've been working hard on this. I've spent a lot of time and energy, not just on the surface, not just doing my job, but really preparing myself for what's to come. And again, I will remind you, right? Like, okay, be mindful of what you say to people and how you say it and what they might say to you with Mercury in retrograde that week, but giving yourself permission to say, yes, I deserve this. I deserve to show off what I've been doing, right? I mean, you see this person in the card, like they're diligently working. They're not just screwing around. They're perfecting these little pentacles that they're making because they're doing it over and over and over again. And I'll also say that energy can feel very tedious, but it's what makes you great, right? You can't be great at anything that you don't put a lot of effort into. All right, let's move on. Let's move to week two. All right, got more Pentacles energy here. Okay, same deal. Notice what is showing up here for you, how you're feeling, if anything's jumping out. I want to give you a little bit more light. Let's see. My lighting's a little odd today. I don't know why. Okay. All right. So I talked about Pentacles energy. So this is the King of Pentacles, and this card's a little bit busy for sure, but King energy is very leadership, very moving forward, giving direction to people. Okay. So when we think about the second week, starting July 6th, during this week, it's okay, right? We talked about how we are acknowledging our mastery, our hard work and dedication. And this is the time when you really get to brag about it, right? You really get to show up in that leadership role and say, hey, look at me, look at what I have been creating. I know how to lead us forward. And now this may be, again, this may be at home, this may be in your relationships, but especially at work or within your business or career, allow yourself to step up and speak out a little bit and say, hey, you know what? I've got an idea that my X time of experience is saying, yes, I am accurate. I know what we're doing. I know how to move us forward. Here's my idea. Let's talk about it. Let's see if we can move forward on it, right? Because that's really what King energy is, just that. Okay. So think about that as you move into that second week. All right. Well, let me step back for a second and say also remembering our overall message, make sure that you are checking in with yourself and whomever you're speaking with to make sure that you are reassessing, recalibrating, reconnecting, all the re's for Mercury in retrograde. Just taking that extra precaution that what you're thinking, what you're offering really is what you intend. Okay, let's look at the third week. All right. Oh, she came in dramatic. Okay. Same thing. What are you noticing? What's jumping out at you? Jot that down before your brain kicks in and starts giving you random ideas and trying to create a story. So, this is going to be our third week in uh, the series. So, this starts July 13th. And so here we have swords energy. We talked again about swords energy in the beginning. So it is communication, it is our thoughts, especially in this card. This is very much about the ways that we are thinking about things, processing through mentally. And, the threes generally are about, um, you know, kind of small group dynamics, um, can be about initial achievements. People traditionally see this card as kind of a heartbreak card, and it certainly can be. It can express that there is the thought of, not necessarily proof of, right? Because it's just our thoughts, and thoughts can be super dark. And that's why most of the swords cards seem really kind of dark and dramatic sometimes, because our thoughts can get carried away. So yes, a lot of times, especially when you're thinking about relationships, this card is having thoughts, ideas, hearing about infidelity or, again, heartbreak, things like that. But, I'd also say that sometimes because threes are also about kind of initial achievements, right? So over here, we've got this mastery energy, but three energy is about kind of the first time that you reach a goal, right? Not that you've been doing a thing forever and you're used to the highs and lows of that learning. The three energy can be like this is the first time you've succeeded. And right after that, sometimes it can feel really difficult to keep moving forward because it's like, oh, well, I already achieved this thing. Now what? Or if somebody says to you, yeah, okay, that's cute. You managed to do this one thing, but now it's time to move on. And because swords energy spirals us sometimes, this card for me this week, again, starting on the 13th, um, is kind of a reminder that you might be in your feelings a bit this week, right? Someone may hurt your feelings, saying something to you, not acknowledging what you've been able to achieve, right? Not including you in a conversation, not including you in something that's happening with the group, right? Just be mindful of that. This is also the week on the 14th. This is the week that we'll have the new moon in Cancer. And so it's probably going to feel really emotional this week, anyways, because that new moon is there. That new moon is really going to have you focusing on your emotions. You're going to be in your feelings and starting to map out like how, because it's the dark moon, right? How do I dig myself out of this constant thinking about my feelings and emotions and things being dark and also creating safe spaces for me and those that I really care about. Okay. So, yes, there's the potential for you to get some news that doesn't feel great this week, but I also would remind you that again, we're still in Mercury retrograde and it's just our thoughts, right? Thoughts are not necessarily real, they're not factual, they're just thoughts. So, get more information. If you hear something that makes you feel off, get more information, find out the truth behind what people are saying, or more clarity on what you might hear from people. All right, last week we'll just do, we can do 5 weeks because the following week, most of that week falls in. So this would be for the 20th through the 26th. All right. Right, same thing. What's jumping out at you? What feeling do you get? Jot that down. Okay, this is the Hermit card. So this is a major arcana card. So the other cards here, these are all called minor arcana. They fit into particular suits, and they are more about the day-to-day kind of mundane things that we do that lead us up to the big life lessons. Major arcana cards are more about big life lessons, bigger changes that may happen in your life. So this again is the week of the 20th. So halfway through this week, Mercury will be stationing direct, coming out of retrograde. We're still going to feel that energy for a few weeks after, but there will be some pressure release that happens in the second half of this week. But the Hermit card is about self-reflection. It's about reassessing internally how you want to move forward. It's about looking backwards intentionally, taking the time to look back, look within, and find that spark that you have been trying to move forward. Right. So this week you may feel super introverted. You may not be interested in being around a lot of people because there's going to be something that's really pulling at you to say, well, what is going on? Why have I been in my feelings right after this new moon in Cancer, especially too? You may need a little time to just reflect and be to yourself. And that's okay, right? We all have to do that. You have to check back in and ask yourself, really, what is my motivation to keep moving forward? You only are going to figure that out by that self-reflection. Okay. And for me, I really was drawn to the little star today, that inner light, that inner glow, that thing that's pushing us forward, really paying attention to that. Okay. And I'm going to scooch these over so I can give us one more week here. Okay. Let's look at this week of the 27th. And we will end up with then that full moon in July this week too. I think also on the 29th. That'll be in Aquarius. All right. So week 5. Here we go. Jot down what jumps out at you, what you're thinking. Okay, this is the Magician, as you can see, and this is another major arcana card, right? So this is, though it says one, it's actually technically the second card in Major Arcana. The first is the Fool, that's the 0, that's just the new beginning. So this is the first real message that we get of the life lessons from the Major Arcana. And the Magician is just reminding us that you have all the tools necessary to do whatever you're going to do next, right? Never tell yourself, like, oh, I don't have enough, fill in the blank. You do. If it's something that is meaningful and powerful and drawing you, that means you have everything that you need to start moving forward on it. There's a lot of symbolism in this card. It encapsulates all of the elements from all of the minor arcana. It is a connection above, to spirit or whatever you connect with, God or goddess. again, spirit, universe, and here on earth, right? So it's really all encompassing. Like you are connected to every single thing. And so by the time we get to this fifth week, we've now moved into Leo energy, right? So again, halfway through this week, we're going to be transitioning into Leo energy while we're reflecting on things. Now, this full week is Leo energy, big, bold, showing up completely different energy. I love that the card is nice and bright as well to really symbolize that summer, full summer Leo energy. So this week, just remind yourself, right? Like, how can I show up? How can I show up and really remind myself that I have all the gifts, all the tools, every single thing that I need to be great this week moving forward, right? This is also moving us into, we won't hit August this week, but after this magician energy, it's like the setup for August. Great. Now I'm completely ready and moving. How am I preparing myself to keep moving beyond all the lessons that I learned these earlier in the week? Okay. So I love it. That is really, I love ending out on a card like that. All right. We will pull one last card, and this will be this underneath that I like to pull to just give us. Sometimes it's a card that just reminds us of something that either we may not be able to foresee, we may not be able to consciously, we may not be consciously aware of it. Um, I'm going to put it right here. Kind of, this framing for the week that we have in that Seven of Swords, here we have the Knight of Cups as just a little gentle reminder. Again, jot down however you feel about this card. This Knight of Cups, Cups energy is specifically our emotions. So it's not necessarily what we think about things. It's not taking action necessarily. It's just all about your feelings. And again, we're in Cancer season, so it's all about the feelings. But the Knight of Cups is bringing something forward, right? Be prepared, throughout all of these lessons for the week, all the work that you're doing, the things that you're noticing, just keep in mind that there's the likelihood of emotions always playing a major role in everything that's going to happen this month, right? You moving forward is going to require you to connect with those emotions. You can't hide from them throughout this week. Even though we didn't see cups here, we saw a lot of thoughts energy. We saw a lot of, stable homework kind of energy, but the undercurrent is going to be the emotion. And you need to really connect with those emotions to move anything forward throughout the rest of this, the entire month. So just keep that in mind. Don't be alarmed when things seem super emotional. I will make a picture of this too so you can see it a little bit better. I will switch my camera back. So that is it. I moved this camera a little bit here. That's it for the month. I hope that was helpful for you. Again, my suggestion would be to, if you didn't get a chance to go back and watch, jot down what jumps out at you, how you connect with the cards, because that's what's important. I can give you some general guidance, but you need to make it yours, right? I don't know what you're going through. I'm not speaking to you specifically. And for me, that's the most important part, that you make that connection between what you're going through, what you're trying to build, and what these cards are indicating to you. That's the important part. So jot those things down, really think about how I want to move forward, knowing it's going to be an emotional time. If you're not a super emotional person, it might really feel off-putting. So just be mindful of that. Again, keep in mind that Mercury retrograde is going to be happening starting on June 29th. We're going to feel it all through July. So it's nothing to be scared about. It just means you need to reassess every single thing, every thought you're having before you sign anything, before you say anything major, make any major life decisions. Really take the time to do some research, to step back and say, okay, have I thought about everything? Is this really how I want to say this thing? Am I sure I want to move forward in this way? And if so, do it. But don't just blurt something out because it might really be taken the wrong way, or you may look back and be like, dang it, maybe I shouldn't have said that. So, um, have a wonderful July. Have some fun. Make sure that you don't forget about our Joyful Muse here and find inspiration wherever you can. It's going to be everywhere. It's the summertime. So enjoy it, and I will either see you in the group or I will see you next month. Have a great one.